This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, I got James, I got Sakura, I got Robert. How's it going, everybody?
Really good.
Hey, what's up?
Good to have you guys on again. Let's jump right into it. I want to talk Daniel Jacobs. He did announce his retirement. Let's just get a take on that. What kind of fighter was he? Who wants to lead off?
I think more than anything, period. Accolades aside, regardless what you want to say about his career, in terms of, he did make it to the big show. He did make it to bigger fights. Great fights, great matchups for him. Aside from any accolades that you want to take away, the story is absolutely amazing, period. From what he went through with the cancer and how he beat it, and was able to get to, for him, the highest level that he could get at in his career is an amazing story. He's a guy of great character, always had great character in and out of the ring, always respected his opponent, always had class. So with that being said, the accolades are what they are, but he's still one of the greatest stories in boxing in quite some time.
Definitely. I mean, to beat cancer, to come back, to become champ, and all the high class fights that he's had, from Canelo to Golovkin to dropping Peter Quillen in the first round. Great career.
Yeah, I was just looking at his his record, and I can only kind of think of one thing, is that he has got quite a resume. He's got a lot of fighters. I don't need to go in case by case. There's a lot of good fighters on his resume.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the greatest record, but my thought here is, who cares? He was in the ring with some of the best. He didn't always pull out that victory, but as far as a career, it's up there, along with the best in his division. It's pretty impressive. And I'm just thinking, yes, he didn't get the wins, but he got the fights. He was in the fights. He was in the game. So I don't know. That just kind of resonated with me just now. And I can't wait to see the movie.
I mean, there's definitely going to be a movie. Every fight that he was in was entertaining. I'm trying to think of a bad fight of his, and I really can't off the top of my head. A lot of people are going to fight back on should he be in Hall of Fame, and that maybe that's a conversation for another night. But Hall of Fame is not what everybody makes it out to be in their head. Hall of Fame is just that. It's fame. Are you famous for boxing? A lot of people say Arturo Gatti does not belong in the Hall of Fame, and to those people I say, fuck you. He definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. If there's one man that's symbolized the Hall of Fame, it should be Arturo Gatti. The man gave himself for the sport. Daniel Jacobs is really not a lot different. I mean, yeah, right. He didn't always come away with the victory, but he was in there with the top names, and he was able to hang with those top names. Maybe he didn't always win, but we knew he was in there with Golovkin, right? I mean, that was a close fight. He was in there with Canelo. Those were close fights. He was never just completely dominated. Daniel Jacobs is one solid-ass dude. Sakura?
Yeah, and I think he could have been even better. But once you get that Canelo money, that urgency to be great kind of like
softens you up a little, doesn't it?
But there's two fights that stick out in my mind with him. Both of them were entertaining. One of them you did mention, which was him in the Triple G fight. I thought that should have been in his win column. And then the second one is when him and Kid Chocolate Um, Peter Quillen when they had to fight, and I was like, I was on the Danny Jacobs train until I realized, wait a minute, this is leading up to a Kid Chocolate fight, and I was like a super Kid Chocolate fan through the beginning of his career, up to when he had that matchup, and it was a quick fight, but it was still like really entertaining.
Mhm.
And he beat my guy. He beat my Peter Quillen. That so that one sticks out in my mind for sure. And then the Triple G fight. But yeah, James is right. He's got a lot of great names on his resume, including Canelo. And there's nobody that can take that away from him. That he was willing to take those riskier fights, that he didn't, he wasn't a dodger or anything like that. He was like willing to say, yes, I'll bet on myself. So I gotta admire that about him. And then of course the story with beating cancer and being told you could never do what you trained so hard to do and thought you were going to have a career in, and to change it all around and prove everyone wrong and become a world champion. That's a whole separate, story, and movie. So yeah, congratulations to him for having a great career, and I hope he likes retirement. um Sometimes those retirements kind of are short lived and they come back. So you never know. You just never know. But for now, congratulations on your retirement. Job well done. And nobody can say anything about him wanting to retire with the names that are on his resume.
No, definitely not. Hopefully, he stays active in the sport. I'd like to see him maybe even try some commentary. I haven't really seen him do it yet, but I
He's
would
pretty
like
good.
to.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he was on HBO quite a number of times, and he's really good at it, if I
Maybe
remember
HBO was
correctly.
so long ago it just left
I
my head,
know.
but feels like a different life, doesn't it?
It does. It
But I think
does.
he was on some other stuff after HBO left.
Huh.
I
Was
think
it
it's more.
Showtime?
I think it's more recent. Maybe
ESPN?
something. Yeah,
Maybe it slips. I don't know. I thought he was mainly the a PBC guy, but
yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
don't remember, but I know he's pretty good at it.
yeah, no. I have confidence in him as a commentator.
I
Pretty
think
sharp.
and I think that's needed now more than ever. Some of these commentaries are pretty terrible. So, but no, I think he should definitely be proud of himself, proud of his resume and the legend that he's left behind. Uh, Top guy. Let's change topics here. Farmer guys, he can't get right again. What's happened to Farmer? Let's talk a little bit about this fight. Uh, Muratalla, he scored a unanimous decision win over Farmer this weekend. Guys, Farmer at once was the top of his division, and he seems, especially as of late, to kind of take a steep turn downwards. What's going on? Where does he go from here?
Well, here first,
Well, shout out to Farmer because he was in that fight to win it, and I think the biggest thing in this fight, because I felt like stamina and fatigue played some contributing role in the last couple of rounds of that fight with him, and also the weight class. I feel like he's better suited for a lower weight class when he was the world champion. I think 135 is a division in which you got to make these guys respect you in that ring with that additional size. And I'm not sure that he has enough power to make them do that. But on the flip side, they gotta respect the boxing skills that he demonstrated. And so there's some room for improvement for him. Like, but as James says to me, he's like he doesn't see him, going back down in weight. Like, whoever, Nonito Donaire is like one of the few that was able to go back down in weight after coming, going up. So, I mean, it's pretty rare when you can go back down in weight, but I do see him being more successful if he was at a 126 or a 130 zone. I don't think those guys at 135 respect his power, even though he gave Muratalla a hard time. It still seemed that there was no respect there. And in the later rounds, when he's, kind of gassed out, definitely, there was no respect as far as, the boxing. I mean, then he was able to just uh, Muratalla was able to do what he wanted to do. So um, I think that's what happened in that fight. Probably like the begin, all of the first half was all Farmer, and the second half seems to be Muratalla. I wouldn't have been upset with a draw in that situation either. Um, with that card, unfortunately, he ended up on the wrong side of that decision win. So, but I want to see him again, and I'm hoping for a couple of improvements. But if he could get down in weight, I would like to see that more so than him trying to compete with these bigger guys.
Yeah.
At the weigh-in, they come out pretty much the same. They're 135 or just under. But it seemed to me like Murataya was so much bigger, taller, wider, everything more muscular, just a bigger dude altogether. And you can't really talk about rehydration because they just weighed in. So fight night, he looked a lot bigger as well. So the idea is that he was just fighting a bigger guy. But yeah, I don't know as far as 130 goes for Tevin Farmer. Who knows? I don't see him going back down, but probably at 135 for a reason. But early rounds, he looked really, really sharp. There was some really, really good counter punching and good head movement. Really, really quick hands. But it just seemed to slow. He seemed to slow down in the middle rounds, and after that, it was kind of downhill, which
Yeah,
is
and
too
don't
bad.
forget the point deduction too. That didn't help. It seemed to have sucked the, oxygen out of his boxing
Well, he does
once
a
he
little.
received that.
He does a little extra when he holds, is that like twist the arm or do something different, as opposed to just tying up and waiting for the ref to separate him.
Yeah.
And he tends to hold a little bit longer after the break, so it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that point deduction occurred, but I'm not saying he didn't deserve a point deduction. I'm just saying that that's and a great example of what happens when a point deduction comes later in the fight when it's kind of close at that point, and how it can change the trajectory of a fight, whether the person deserved it or not. I'm just saying.
Rob, you've been on for quite. Do you
Well,
agree?
well, first of all, Tevin Farmer was never supposed to win that fight in the first place. What he was supposed to do was show Maritella, give him a tough time, and I felt like he did that. I felt like he did just that. So I do give kudos to Farmer. He showed Maritella that and Robert Garcia that they need to go back to the drawing board, and he showed them a lot of stuff that they can work on for his next fight. As far as the skill set was there for Farmer, the skill set was there, and it was there early and often. Unfortunately, and Shakura alluded to some of this, the power was not there. Therefore, Moratella later, especially in the fight, didn't really respect it and was able to eat some of those punches, get through them, and land heavier punches that really slowed Farmer down. As far as the point deduction goes, that's at first I was a little upset about it, and then now that I think about it, that's what the point deduction is supposed to do. Though it's supposed to make him fight and not hold. And I feel like Farmer was doing that too much in the fight, relying on the hold to stop Maritella from getting his shots up instead of actually boxing, moving around the ring more. So that's why later in the fight, after the point deduction, especially, Muratalla was able to close the rounds and win the fight. You got to do more in there than just box and then hold and hope that you win on points.
I mean, but that's a strategy that's used by a lot of other people that don't get penalized anything.
And this point, or in this one though, the point was taken, and I felt like it was deserved. It did change Farmer's strategy. It did change him up a bit, but it's because it was supposed to make him fight, not just hold and run around the ring. As far as his trajectory, this is a guy, Lucas, you alluded to it, like what happened to him is what happens to all these guys when they get to a certain level and then they have disappointment. They take too much time off. Inactivities was killed Farmer. And the problem now is that he's had 3 fights in a row, 3 victories in a row prior to this bout. So he was coming in with some momentum, but it's not at the level of competition that he needed to be in. He's not obviously at the right shape that he needs to be in. He probably could use a few more pounds on that body to get a little bit more power out of him. Because if you're going to be that, give up the weight advantage and the power, you got to have speed. And there wasn't a lot of that later in that fight. He gave up too much. That's why he lost.
Yeah. Are we done seeing him at the title contention? I'm not saying he's going to retire, but are we seeing him done competing for a title?
With this Tevin Farmer, yes. Yes. I mean, I'd have to say yes because he's given up too much and he hasn't had a significant win in several years now. Several years. He did give this guy great work. Don't get me wrong. He did give him a good fight. He gave him great work, which means, unfortunately, he might be at that gatekeeper level status because now all you're going to do is see him in there with a lot of younger fighters that he can give rounds to. I don't see him getting any title shots anytime soon. I don't see him beating any younger, talented fighters. So, no, I don't see him getting the title shot.
Okay. Now we
for
talked.
that's the reason I feel like he will probably get some title shots. I mean, to be honest with you, if they don't feel like, he can give guys, some slick boxing lessons in there and see where their level is at, that's the reason why they might put him in there a lot. Because, they feel like he's not as risky as he might have once been. So I think that might mean he will get other opportunities for title title shots. I don't think that, that's necessarily the case, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, no, let's flip it and talk about the winner here. Let's talk about Raymond Muratalla. First and foremost, I mean, obviously he won, but let's talk a little bit of what he's been doing good. Who wants to lead off with that?
Well, this fight, he didn't show very much good other than he outlasted a shell of himself, Tevin Farmer. I saw a lot of holes in this fight, a lot. He is powerful though. He does have good power shots, especially at this weight class. And if he stays at this weight class, that's going to carry him to, victories like this here. But there's a lot of holes that I saw with that fight with Farmer. Anybody who was sharper or even more better prepared in that fight could have probably won.
Yeah, I think the one thing with Muratalla is that his hand speed isn't great. He does have power, but yeah, he just doesn't. He doesn't have such a great jab. He doesn't have such a really good overhand right. He's good on the inside. There's no question about it. But yeah, there's definitely room for improvement, and he's a top ranked guy, so they normally take good care of the fighters. I think he's going to do okay, provided he stay on track. He's got a good trainer in Robert Garcia. I'm pretty sure it's Robert Garcia, and so yeah, no, I have confidence in him. I think he's on the right track. Let's say. Well, let's see. I mean, 135. You know, it's time to step it up there. And
There's,
And
the
that's
question is, who's next? Because he's like in hot water at 135. Everybody knows that.
yeah, there's a lot of people out there, you know, and can he compete? I mean, that's a stacked division if there ever was one.
that is one good thing that I'll give him though, James, is he does listen to the corner well. And he did that and made the adjustments that he needed to in that fight. Because if he didn't, it was going to be a long night. It was going to be embarrassing too. But he does listen to the corner and take Robert Garcia's advice well.
Okay. Now there, like we said, it is stacked. Who would you guys like to see him against next? I don't want to throw him into the deep end. I don't want to see a Tank or a Loma or anything. But I would like to see maybe a Cambosis, a Frank Martin. What do you guys think?
I was thinking Frank Martin as well.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think that might be a good one.
I could see that being an action-packed fight.
They both can slug, so that might be good.
I don't think
Maybe
he's ready for even a Frank Martin, to be honest with you. From what we
No?
saw, if Tevin Farmer hadn't, slowed down and got fatigued and got a point taken for, well, he's going to call it clinching. I already know that, not holding. But so, I mean, if it hadn't been for that, I think Tevin Farmer was on his way to winning that fight. So I don't think he's ready for all that. So maybe in a fight or two, but right now it's too many holes in the game, right? It wasn't impressive of a showing that it was supposed to be. As James and them was saying, it's like he was. Oh no, Rob was saying that it was supposed to be Muratalla that won the fight. So I don't know. Didn't look too hot to me.
I'm thinking someone along the lines of Jose Valenzuela, who's booked. He's got a date with Pitbull Cruz, but something
Mhm.
along those lines. And there's quite a few. I mean, we're talking 135. This thing is like a who's who. Even going into like the top 15, lots and lots of good fighters there. At 15 is Emiliano Vargas, so Fernando Vargas' son, and Giovanni Cabrera, who just lost his last fight, but nevertheless looked okay. Possibility there as well. So I mean, 135. Shit, there's plenty there.
A lot of
Okay.
names. A lot of names. Um, Another fight, Chocolatito TKOs Barrera in the final round of their fight. You got to love Chocolatito, guys. And Rob, I know you have a hatred for 135 and below. You have been knowingly not been happy with Chocolatito being on a pound for pound list. So I want to get your take on this fight first.
I was pleased with his performance because at that age that he's in, and yeah, it was impressive. I hate to admit it. It was really impressive because not only did he get the victory, but he got a stoppage, and he went for it. He went for it this time. Usually with these guys at this age, especially at this weight class, they're not engaging. They're not really willing to engage in these bouts. And he took it to his opponent. He got the stoppage. At the end there, he beat him up pretty bad. He did. He beat him up pretty bad. So I was really impressed with that. The problem is going to be now, you know, what's he going to be able to do to the younger, hungrier fighters in this weight class?
Mm. Well, I mean, I don't know that guy that he fought, Barrera. He
Barrera.
wasn't ready to lay down or anything. He wasn't he was trying to offer him, some opposition. But Chocolatito, yeah, he just still has that relentlessness.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
even when you think he might be tired and he lay low for a round, it's like really a way of him just, being able to gear back up for more. And then it seemed like the second win is worse than the beginning rounds for him. Like he's not just rejuvenated, it's like his second win is like, now I'm really about to lay hands on you. So I don't know where he gets this fountain of youth from, but I love watching Chocolatito in action. And as long as he feels good and he looks good and he's able to win fights against younger opponents, even, I mean, why shouldn't he be mixing it up with some of the rest of the division at flyweight? Why? Of course he should.
Well,
Yeah.
the idea is that I felt bad for his opponent because he was in hot water, he was in deep, and he was in the lion's den. The idea is that you know Chocolatito has not fought at home in many years, and understandable. But this was kind of like one of those fights where everyone wanted to see him, and obviously they want to see some blood and a knockout and all that. And Barrera just wasn't going down, and I thought, you know, let his corner stop this. But you know,
Yes,
but
James.
they don't want to do that
Yeah.
at home either. So this kid is like, getting it from both sides. Anyway, finally in the end it was stopped, so I felt good. But I just felt like this was headed for like a mandatory knockdown. Like that's all they want is just a knockout because the fans, want to see that. Well, in
Hmm.
the end, it all worked out. But I was
You're
thinking, man,
right.
he's just in a lion's den.
It
But
probably went on like two more rounds than it should have.
that's a lot.
Maybe, yeah. And when he knocked him down, I was like, "Stay down, dude. Stay, stay down." And then he popped back up. I'm like, "No, tonight is not the night to be a warrior." You know what I'm saying? Like these fans are not going to appreciate you more. Like they just want, like Jay say, they just wanted to see Chocolatito get this win and get it like by knockout. And the ref was obliging, too obliging. And
Yes.
his team definitely wasn't doing him any favors. So I'm glad they finally stepped in and was like, yeah, this is done. But 2 rounds too late though.
I just felt like that way. It was going for a KTFO, but thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was looking a little dangerous there towards the end. Now I know you guys keep. I've heard old several times. He is the ripe old age of 37 years old. Uh, do we want to see him with the likes of a Nakatani, the guys at the top?
I believe that's where he's headed.
Yeah.
I believe that's where he's headed, and that's where he's headed immediately, probably.
Yeah, and he said that he's willing to fight Bam Rodriguez. You can't get no younger and stronger than
Don't
that.
don't do that.
I don't
Don't
think
do
Well,
that.
I
well,
can
he
do that.
says that he
Rob, like,
wouldn't
no,
do
no,
it.
don't do that.
Don't
So,
don't poke the lion.
yes.
There's got to be uh, a lot of other um, super flies out there, and hopefully,
I
but
don't.
they tend to stay too long. And he's already, how old is he? 37 years old. That's old for someone in his weight division.
Yeah.
That's
I
that's
I,
kind of
Nakatani's
Because
a
of
I
how
kind
good
of
many
fight.
punches, because of all the punches they throw. I
that's
mean,
yeah.
that
That's
makes them age faster.
this is a
But
heavy.
at the same time, he still looked great in there. I
Na-
mean, but let's see.
Nakatani's a good fight for him. If he I don't even know why he mentioned Bam. If he
Someone
wants to
asked
learn
him.
if he wants to learn about Bam, ask his friend El Gallo. Okay, ask El Gallo about Bam, and he'll tell you you don't want no parts.
I'm sure he
hey.
knows about it because in his Bam's preparation for the Strata fight, he had Chocolatito in his camp, and they sparred in.
Yes. They're good friends apparently. That's what they were saying in the
Mhm.
in the, pre fight. They were talking about how they were good friends, so they probably would never fight each other. And then that's when someone in media asked Chocolatito, was he willing to fight him? And he said, "Yeah, I do it." So,
Well, at that, given that, I feel like given at that
Hey,
point on the spot, you're gonna say it. Go after Nakatani. That would be a good fight.
look, I mean, go after Bam. I think Bam's the money, right? I mean, that's a bigger fight on paper than even the Nakatani fight.
yeah, and that's
So,
really what he's still in the game for, is to get some bigger paydays, before he completely retires. So,
yeah,
I mean, if that's what he's really after, then you gotta go for the best. What's gonna get you the most, fan participation, the most
yeah.
money for
And
the matchup.
as you
Mhm.
guys are saying, he ain't getting any younger, so it would be a now or never. I'm with the fight. I mean, go all out. It can only improve both of you. I mean, if for some way Chocolatito wins, man, and if not, it's a notch on Bam's belt too. So just helps grow his legend. Either way, it's a win-win for everybody that likes boxing.
That's a good point. I would like to see Bam fight this guy because he's already beat Quadras, Rungvisai, Estrada. I mean, he's beat the four kings in a sense.
Hmm.
That's a stretch to call him four kings. I realize that, but that's kind of the thing. It's
Yeah,
a cluster of great fighters.
yeah,
And
Mhm.
truth be told, they're a little bit past their prime. But if Bam could have all of those names on his resume as wins or knockouts or stoppages or whatever, I think that would be pretty cool. And he's already got the top dog in. Well, so Rungvisai and Estrada. Carlos Quadras was kind of impressive, but I think Quadras was probably not at his best that night.
Mhm.
But he won, so you can't take it. Can't
hmm
take anything from him. But I guess in the end, maybe he could and should fight Chocolatito.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that Chocolatito won and that he's still in the conversation. So maybe down the line, who knows? Maybe we'll see this fight. I like it. I want to see it. Let's move on here. Let's talk boots, guys. Now, a lot of people are saying Boots ate a lot of shots, which it is true. But to me, it looked like he was intentionally kind of eating some to try to land his own. If you ask me, but he did stop Avanesyan a little bit sooner than Crawford. Calls Crawford out. Uh, One, how did Boots look? I mean, like I said, he was getting landed on. And some of those look like some pretty good shots. There was a few uppercuts that was just like, God damn, Boots. Like, but he took it. He took it on the chin, just marched right through it. So it really did not have too much of an effect on him.
Well, you got
Avanesyan was looking like he came prepared for a battle. And I was shocked at some of the punches he was taking, but I also was shocked at some of the punches that landed on Boots with those right hooks he was landing.
They,
So that was something that kind of, shocked me there. Maybe he didn't have respect for the power that Avanesyan brought. And that might have been a reason why he was, didn't care if he got hit a little bit more. But either way it go, I didn't think that it was necessary for him to get hit as much. But he said that he, had that layoff for a year and everything, and he felt like he had a lot of ring rust. Um, Avanesyan apparently suffered some serious injuries, guys, like a broken jaw and 3 broken ribs.
damn.
So that's why he didn't come back out. When I'm like, well, I thought he was fine. He walked to the corner like he was fine. And then when they stopped, when his corner stopped it, I'm like, what the fuck? Why did they stop it? Like he looked like he come out for more. As if he hadn't already taken enough, right? But then when I'm hearing about these injuries, I'm like, whoa, like that's what Boots does to you, He's cracking ribs, he's breaking jaws, and we're watching and we're not even realizing how bad Avanesyan is really hurting there. So kudos to Avanesyan, and can't wait to see Boots in his next step up fight.
And hopefully it is a step up because it's time. It's time. It's hot time for Boots. I mean, he's got all the talent in the world, and now he's with a better promoter, and um, he's just one of those guys who hasn't had that shot, but it's time. I mean, it's there's talk about him maybe facing Crawford in Saudi Arabia or wherever that might be. That could be a really really good fight. But it's time. I mean, I've been hearing about Boots and watching him for a long long time, and it's his opponents have always been that level just below the top of the heap. You
Yeah,
have
and
to
Avanesyan
step
had
up.
fought Bud, so it was a good comparison. Even though Boots was supposed to fight Crawley
Yeah,
initially,
yeah. So
um,
he only had
yeah,
like a month of
to
preparation, which is
prepare. Yeah.
that's all right. But still, I mean, it's time for Boots to get it on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we need some kind of measuring stick. Go ahead, Rob.
so I wanted to see that Crawley fight. I wanted to see him versus Crawley
Me
because
too.
Crawley's action packed fighter. In terms of Mr. Boots Ennis, studied this kid just like I studied Tank. Studied him just like I studied Crawford. You got to go back to the Lip and Nets fight. He's been doing this style before, and that's the fight where you really see him do the same style, where he'll eat a punch and take it, walk right through it, and deliver the hardest shots in the division right back. It's a hell of a lot of pressure on a fighter, especially a guy like in the style of Lipinets and the style of Evanesian. Those guys fit his style perfectly because Boots is probably the hardest puncher in this division right now. And he has a chin. He can take their shots. And they're expecting to go to war with this guy here, and he's just eating them and dishing them back out. So Boots is a rarity in this division right here. In terms of Crawford, we're seeing it. Crawford's moving up. Crawford's moving up. You can't call it ducking. You really can't. And I don't want to say that at this point. That's not what this is. But Crawford don't want Boots right now because Boots is very tough at this division. In terms of, like I said, in terms of step ups for him, Crowley, I think Crowley is a good opponent for him because he's, in my opinion, he's underestimated.
Yeah, very much so.
He's very underestimated. Therefore, with Boots coming in, thinking he's going to take some of those punches and be able to dish them out, Cody will go to war with you, and it'll be back and forth. It'll be a true toe to toe fight. So I think that's the type of step up fight that I want to see. But in terms of everybody saying they want to see him versus Crawford, this and that. Um, Crawford's moving up, guys. He's moving up. That fight to me is not there. And at that division, I don't want to see Boots step up there yet because I love his status in the division that he's in right now.
Well, I mean, he's got to find somebody, and the problem is, I mean, Boots can find a name, yeah, but Crawford found that to be a problem himself. I mean, look at his resume; he's had trouble finding those kinds of names. I don't know if Boots
Well,
has any opposition. He has to
well,
kind of
here's the
chase the
thing.
Crawford fight.
Here's the thing that a lot of people that we're missing right now in boxing too, that we're really missing a lot. You don't necessarily need the name per se, but you need a fight. You actually need a great fight. Yes,
You
you
need a
think
dance partner. You need a matchup that
exactly,
is going to make fans want to see it and wait and anticipate seeing it. And he doesn't have that partner when everyone that has an established name has already moved up to 154. Now he could easily just get all those belts together at welterweight and be able to become undisputed and then try to move up quickly. But now if he does that, now that's like, I mean, a different person got every belt right now, you know, at welterweight. So it would take a minute to make that happen.
I
So
mean,
it's like, do he want to waste time at welterweight to get this undisputed status, or is he willing to forego that dream and go up in the division to make some money fights? Because this is where he's at right now. I mean, even who we thought he would be having a great matchup with is which is Virgil Ortiz. He's no longer at 147 because that was the guy that was coming up the ranks at the same time he was, that we
Absolutely.
thought eventually were going to fight each other. But now that isn't even an option at 147. So you're left with Barrios, who has a title, Stanios, and I don't know. I think the third person, like the WBO, is somebody that I can't even pronounce their names, kind of
But Shakura,
right now. So it's kind of like that.
those are
I
good
don't know why
fighters
you want them to hang around that division when
because
there's
those are
not
good
like a real
fighters.
dance partner, Rob.
Those
I
are
mean, they're
good. Those are because those are good fighters.
good, not great. That's the problem.
So
With
why
Boots,
do y'all keep saying Boots is great? Who the hell is he beat?
that's we're trying to get him to beat somebody great. That's the problem,
So then let
Rob.
him take those
Following the
names.
conversation,
Then
why take those
let him
names?
take those names because he ain't proved nothing yet.
Listen, I'm gonna say it out loud. This is the same shit I say about Crawford, but you don't hear it when I say it. Crawford's name on it, okay? It's the same shit. If he beats
They
this
gave Crawford.
division,
I can't let you do that right now.
hang on. Let me get out what
Okay.
I'm trying to get out. If he beats through the 147, to me, that's really not a lot different than what Crawford did at 140, right? You can unify that shit, but it don't mean shit to me. You didn't beat not a single name in there that it matters to me, right? So why do it? Why should he not chase the 154? Why should he not chase the Virgil Ortiz fight, the Crawford fight, the fights that are actually have some meaning to them? No offense against Barrios. I think he's a good fighter. I think Boots is just better. I think Boots is going to walk through a guy like Barrios. That's just
Y'all
me.
are
It's just that Boots is a
you're
special
underestimating.
type of
Maybe.
fighter. We all know that there's something special with this boxer, but so we can't just put him with a good and or even a great boxer, because he's just still going to be at a higher elite level than they are. So this is what's happened to him already in his career with some of the names that he had, but we knew the names, but we still were like wanting more, wanting a better opponent, wanting a better competition out to match him up to see where he's at. And there's nobody that's going to give him that, to me, in my opinion, at 147 right now,
I
unless
agree.
I,
somebody comes
I,
down and
Well,
wait.
y'all are already crowning him.
I
Then
agree.
I,
that's a problem. You're crowning him. To me, a fighter is special when they go through adversity or go through something and triumph over it.
But
And
that's
we
the
haven't
problem,
seen
is no
that yet.
matter who you put him in there where, he's gonna
We
look
don't
like it's
know that.
easy.
but
We don't know that. He
if
doesn't have those caliber names yet, even.
if you're talking about a particular opponent, I think the only one that makes sense is either Mario Barrios or Ayamantis Stanionis. Can't believe I said it.
That's what I just said. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying, James. That's
that's
exactly what I'm just saying.
that's it. It's just those two. Everyone else is booked this weekend, so
I think Crawley would have been a good fight. I think Cody would have been a good fight for him. Again, we got to see him fight these guys before he goes up. Now
You're
with
right,
Lucas is
Lucas. He wasn't saying that when it was Crawford at with that
with
WBO
Lucas.
belt at
Exactly.
welterweight, who hadn't been able to capture a fight. But
Exactly.
Rob, you knew he was special. You knew it was a special type of boxer back then. You knew that. So
With,
don't
with
act like you don't know Boots is in the same way. Like you trying to, I don't know what's going on with you, but that's not you. Like you normally, you didn't have a problem with accepting the greatness of a Bud Crawford at 147. But now you're saying you got a problem with accepting Boots at that same, elite level.
Well,
But they
Crawford
both at that particular weight class haven't been able to secure the best of the crop until it was almost too late, you know.
that's not true. Crawford beat the best fighter on the planet at the time at that weight.
Oh my God, we're still doing this. He was an injured fighter at
No, see,
best.
here we go. Here we go with this crap. No, here we go.
It's
Yeah,
I
not.
can't let you do that.
It's not.
He beat one of the
It's
pound for
it's not a
pound best
false
fighters
thing.
at
Yeah,
that weight
it's
class.
true though. If it's
Spence
a
is
true
not pound for
statement,
pound. I mean,
he
he was
wasn't
not.
At
what
that
he
time, he
was.
was.
No, Spence definitely had declined since everybody had began to want that matchup. Like it
Hmm.
was few years
Declined where? Where did he decline in? He beat the crap out of
declined
you
in
guys.
his level of competition, declined in his abilities. He was much slower than we thought. He was uh, not able to establish anything of
In that fight,
noteworthiness
yes.
against Bud. We're also talking about post accidents, post car accidents with an
Hmm.
S,
That
and we're talking
eye was
about,
damaged.
yeah, like then we also are talking about that Sean Porter fight that Spence had that was like monstrous damage.
Knockdown, drag
They were
out. Yeah.
going toe to toe at that. And so it's a lot that happened to Spence. Meanwhile, Bud was able to coast through some fights and barely get hit. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but
he wasn't
Bud had
as
his question marks too. I mean, we got the Porter fight where I would have even had Porter maybe ahead before the stoppage, and that's a late stoppage, guys. I mean, a couple more rounds, Porter might have been able to pull that one out.
well.
Um,
That's the same thing that happened with Spence too.
exactly,
When Sean fought him,
and that's an
you know.
old Porter. That's an old, worn out Porter. This is not the Porter that like fought Apollo Malignaggi, and you know what I mean. Like he didn't move the same. He don't act the same. I guarantee you, his punching power ain't the same. This is a very different Sean Porter, and the fact that those two struggle with him, I don't know. I need better engagement with both of these guys, right? But you are just saying it's okay for Crawford to go ahead and go up to 154, but you want Boots to stay and slum it at 147. Why is that? We
Because
gotta
Crawford is a way bigger name than Boots Ennis.
for now.
Because he's not gonna make that much money fighting the guys that you mentioned. Like he's not gonna make the mega money that he's looking for in his career by staying at 147.
No, he's
Unless
really
they can
not.
make a Conor Ben fight happen for him over in the UK.
Yeah,
Um, but last time I checked, Conor Ben is still suspended over there.
he could come here and fight. I mean, I do
Yeah,
think
but most
Connor
of
Ben
his
would
fan
gain
base
him.
would be, like if you wanted to be a O2 arena type
You're
thing, you
right.
would need, yeah,
You're right.
like you
You're right.
needed to be in the UK for him. So
To make it worth their money, yeah. I mean that
yeah,
you're gonna win a lot of those fans too, and you definitely want to do that over there. But I mean, you got to get it how you can get it. You know what I mean? You got to get
yeah.
it how it comes. Um, but for me, I don't know. I'm saying I want him out of the division. If he doesn't get a Conor Ben type fight, you might as well go up to 154. Uh,
Mm.
I think Bud had a chance for Virgil Ortiz. It was one of the few fights that could have been made when he was with Top Rank for so long. And the fact that that didn't come to fruition seems a little suspicious to me.
Most,
Um,
The Pacquiao
exactly.
fight never
I mean,
became a
he had
thing
no
either.
names. Yeah, and he declined Pacquiao at first, and then later on, Bud wanted Pacquiao, and it didn't go. It didn't just never happen. Never came to fruition. But the fact that that fight never happened when really he was trying to get these PBC guys to fight him. I mean, you had Virgil Ortiz there that entire time, and he was making a splash, but he's avoiding that. I'm not saying he's scared of him. I'm just saying he avoided that fight for whatever reason. But for me, there's just not enough. Like if you don't get a Conor Ben or another big name to come to you at 147, you got to move up to 154. You have to face those challenges because these fights, even though they may be against good names for you, Rob, to most of us, I think we already are predetermined that's a Boots win.
I'm not.
It's just not going to put his name back where we want it to be at in the conversation. Like, those fights are just not going to put him in the standing that we want him to be in. Like, he needs a bigger name in order for him not just to be Ennis Boots versus a huge Bud Crawford that, you know, is going to be globally known in a minute. So, like, we need Boots' name to be established than more than just, you know, the hardcore fans.
Well, that's all fine and dandy. You asked why I gave Crawford the credit and not Boots, because Crawford proved me right. Boots, I think, will prove me wrong. And y'all wrong. Therefore, when he does step up and lose, I told you and I told him, stay down. Stay down there. Take the Stanios fight. Take the Barrios fight. Stay down.
Don't you feel like those are just meaningless fights for him, though? Don't you feel like those are wins that, you know, not big money fights, not anything really that too many people are going to care about?
I would like to see him tested that way, but at the same time,
but it should have happened already, right?
You want the big fight. You know, it's hot time. But you know, there's talk about that fight with Boots Ennis and Crawford coming up after Crawford's next fight, which is in, I guess, early August here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so that's coming up, and then I guess his Mr. Toiki wants to have that bout maybe in Saudi Arabia or maybe here in the United States. Who knows? But we'll see how that goes. But there's a good possibility that could be made because that guy's got money.
He has been making my dreams come true as of late. So.
Now he done made me mad because I'm like, you got enough money to put this event inside some AC. I mean, that turned me completely off. I was ready to be in LA and everything. And when I found out that it's gonna be outside, I was like, oh no, I can't.
Yeah, it'll be really, really hot. It's in August, right? That next bout with Riyadh season here in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be hot. Or
August. You know, August anywhere is not that pleasant, and it's just the thought of, like, you know, that when you get hot and that sweat bead just roll down, that one bead, you feel it roll down your back. Hell no, I'm not doing it. I'm not, and I'm an asthmatic for two. Like, I'm gonna need for your excellency to pay a couple of extra coins for the inside venue. We are not used to that type of heat over here.
I hear you. It's been really hot those last couple of days here. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Mm-hmm, that part. It's like, not only is it always hot in August, it's also like a heat wave going across the country. Like, no.
We've had like the kids' football started up, and it's canceled for 2 days in a row just because of the heat advisory. Like, it's been that bad. But guys, let's move on here. First and foremost, before we do though, I just want to do you think before the end of 2025, quick yes or no, do we see Boots versus Crawford? James?
I think so. I think that could be the next out after this fight for Crawford. That might be the good possibility.
I'm thinking so too. Rob?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm hearing Crawford's name come up too much. And when you hear a fighter's name come up too much like that, it's hard to predict what they will do with him, really.
You've been hearing, I don't hear a lot of people call Crawford out.
You have Canelo. They want him to fight Canelo.
That's Crawford calling Canelo out. Everybody calls Canelo out.
Not only that,
if you ask Chocolatito, might call his ass out. But
I mean, I think that since Canelo has shut down the possibility of the Bud Crawford fight, that it's more likely now that we'll get the Ennis Boots fight. But what weight class, and are they going to give Bud enough money to where he's like, all right, I'll get down to 147 then for this money fight, or is it going to be that catch weight stuff, or is it going to be Boots has to go up to 154 for the fight if he wants it? I think he's young enough that he could go up to 154 and still go back down for 147 fights. Like, he's young enough that he can lose weight kind of more easily than an older fighter could.
Yeah, Crawford takes me as he's a lean guy anyway, with a high metabolism, so I think he'd be able to make it without a problem right now. But
let me take this question for CJ really quick to let him know.
Okay.
But CJ says, what happened to Crawford versus Charlo? CJ, Charlo beats people up and gets in trouble with the law. Outside of the ring, yes. And gets in trouble with the law. So he is currently being stripped or some stuff like that because of his out of the ring issues. So that fight with Crawford or anybody right now is all on hold.
You can go ahead and take it and keep on going with Rob's rapid fire.
Well, I thought since we are all here and I keep forgetting to do it, and Lucas wants it on video, that we would give our top 5 pound for pound list.
And this is something we got to research first. I didn't expect y'all to do it at the drop of a hat. This is why it was like homework. I laid it out for you to be like, think about it.
Yeah, he said homework and separate videos, but also, are we talking of all time?
No, I'm talking current status.
Currently. Okay, currently. I guess Rob has got his list ready. I'd like to hear it.
I hear some papers getting shuffled back there.
Well, I got my list.
And I got over here.
And I got it in order.
Let's hear
Number 1, Gervonta Tank Davis. Number 1.
No big surprise there. We knew you were gonna say that.
I'm just gonna hang on here. I gotta mute you off that. You can't talk right now. What? And look, Tank ain't even conquered a whole division. Okay, and I got you on mute so I can just talk, and you can't respond. Damn it, Tank ain't even conquered a whole division yet, and you got Crawford, who at least has 2 divisions. You got Usyk, who's got 2 divisions, annihilated both of them. And you gonna sit here and say, Tank Davis, we ain't fought no goddamn buddy. All right. Your lashing is over.
I said Gervonta Tank Davis, number 1. Number 2, Terrence Crawford. Number 3, I've got Usyk. Number 4, Innuendo, the monster. And number 5, Canelo Sal Alvarez.
CJ says Usyk, Inoue, and Tank is his top 3. CJ, I still don't know why you got Tank in the top 3.
Because ain't nobody gonna beat him. Okay.
I don't know about all that. I mean, his last couple outings haven't looked the best. He allows himself to get outboxed for the first 6 rounds
you mean
or so.
His last couple outings, he's got knockouts, baby.
Knockouts don't. You can't knock out everybody. And there's going to be a time where Tank can't knock the guy out. Then what happens? That's what comes next. And then CJ's got Crawford. So CJ gave us his top 4. Look, it's hard for me with Usyk up there. I think I gotta have Usyk number 1, because not only did he got those belts, he had to beat those top guys to get those belts. You can't turn around and pick up some weak guy. No, he went through the heavyweight division as a really small, and we've said this for years, guys. Before Usyk when we were talking about just him going up to heavyweight, he's a small heavyweight. He's going up against AJ. He's going up against Tyson Fury. He is a small fucking heavyweight. And guess what? He proved all of us wrong. Okay. He has the boxing skill. You got to put him up at number 1 or number 2.
Is Rob still muted?
No, I've relieved him of that. But besides Usyk, Crawford's right behind him with the accolades of the undisputed 2 weight classes. But then you have Canelo, you got Bivol. It's hard. That's what I'm saying. Right now, I can't give you a direct top 5, but that's like a little sneak peek. I think that's. I guarantee you Tank out on my top 5. I do not have Tank there.
I'm feeling Inoue vibes to me. Like, I mean, he did a lot in a year too.
Right.
Like, he fought a lot of top dogs down there and in their divisions, and he still got more divisions we know he can move up to. But like, yeah, he fought some real competition in the last year, and I think he conquered 2 weight divisions in the last year. So I'm going with Inoue. I'm going with Bud. I do still like Tank. I do think that Tank is
top 5 though.
Yeah, I'm giving him top 5 because
I might give him top 10.
Because when you watch him, you gonna get what you want. When you want that KO, he gonna provide you with that fix, and that means something in this industry where we you know, everybody else seems to be stagnant with what they delivering. Whereas the Tank is like, it's it's gonna happen. It's 100% that KO is coming. And he does have some boxing skills with that. And what I got 2 more lightweights. I mean super lightweights. I feel like that's a category that's been overlooked, but that's a lot of people that fight in those divisions. They fighting currently, and so I even like a Tiafimo at that weight. I like let's see. Well, Jose Ramirez used to be my dude, Lucas, but I had to drop him down after he lost to Josh Taylor. I had to, get off the train a little bit, but I still love his body work.
That's some time ago, though.
Yeah, and but I think it's Usyk is definitely on the list as well. So hopefully I said 5, right?
I think so.
I mean, Canelo is not on my top 5 list, actually. So that should probably surprise a lot of people that he's not in my top 5.
I could see him slide to 6, 7. As long as he's in your top 10, I think you're good.
Yeah, the
reason why I got him at top 5 is because he's still beating young, hungry fighters like Munguia.
No, yeah. Like I said, Canelo's as long as he's in your top 10, you don't really have to explain too much. I think Canelo's pound for pound.
Well, I know there's a lot of Canelo fans that are super surprised that I didn't put him in my top 5. That's why I'm saying that. But being able to catch a young, hungry fighter before they're really developed enough to face you at their best doesn't qualify you as, to me. So that's what I believe Munguia versus Canelo was. I mean,
and he learned that from Floyd. That's what Floyd did to him.
He got the formula from numero uno for sure, money made. But that's all good too. I mean, I'm just saying that ain't qualifying it for me. But yeah, I definitely, I'm loving what Inoue has been able to do in the past year, like. Dude,
Yeah, there's
Solid.
been a lot of talent. Yeah, I mean,
Let me go
go ahead,
ahead
bro.
and answer CJ really quick with his last couple of posts.
Okay, yep. Tell Rob to
So,
come back. My redemption is Shakur beating Tank when they meet. Y'all can think he's boring if you want to. Tank can't hit what he can't catch.
CJ, to your surprise, I actually compared Shakur last week a little bit to Floyd Mayweather. And I agree with you 100% actually that the kids' defense is a major problem. Major problem, especially for fighters like Tank, because you're absolutely right. Tank needs to get in the range. He needs to be able to stalk his prey. He needs to quit. He needs to get those punches off. He needs to let his power go. And with the defense like Shakur has, that's absolutely going to be a problem with any fighter per se, especially with a fighter like Tank.
Okay, James,
Okay.
who we seeing for your
It's
top five?
it's pretty simple. I mean, you know, for me, between one and two is an argument, and that's the argument. It is Inoue number one, or is Usyk number one? So I got Inoue as number one,
Makes
and I
sense.
got Usyk number two, and that
Also
was,
makes sense.
you know, Crawford. I got him at number three, and I moved him up because the undisputed status and so forth. Number four, the guy who took number one out. So that's Dimitri Bivol. He took out
Mhm.
um, the Can Man, and he took him out decisively. Um,
Mhm.
and most recently, the introduction of Bam Rodriguez, with that, he stopped one of my favorite fighters of all time. So and that's Strada. So I gotta,
Estrada.
I gotta put, I gotta put Bam in there. And
Okay.
finally, I got the Can Man at number six.
Okay. So again, yeah, Canelo was going to make the top 10. I think on anybody's. If you're an honest boxing fanatic, whether you like Canelo or not, you got to have him in your top 10. But I like all these lists. But the point was for you guys to send them to me. I'm going to get an average of where these guys land in a list so that we can come up with Tough Talk's actual top five.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yes,
going to
yes,
average them all, see where
yes.
we stand at. We are going to have our own running pound for pound list um, in the future. uh, Guys, we were going to talk some other fights. I say fight because I'm not even going to call it a boxing match. It's Jake Paul
Jake Paul,
taking on
yeah,
Mike Perry.
yeah.
This is the fill in fight for the Mike Tyson. But I don't want to hear that shit at all. So we'll.
Hey, ESPN is calling this a showcase for boxing.
And why is that?
I think the
ESPN.
coach for Perry is actually a boxing principal coach, and a lot of the bare knuckle style is, it kind of overlaps over boxing. So I mean it's probably going to be more interesting than what people think, but the card itself is pretty good because you still got Amanda Serrano facing Stevie Morgan, and you have, and this is also, she's going to be at 140 because she's, trying to do the step up for the Katie Taylor fight. So this is like a, I don't want to say practice, but this puts her in that range, that
Yeah.
that weight range, so that she'll be ready for a Katie Taylor. And then Shadeja Green is also back, and she's another, that's two female boxing fights on the card, and she lost to our girl Franchon.
Mhm.
Um, so we got that. And then there's also Sylvie. He's on the card because his opponent, which is for the Mike Tyson fight, he was gonna fight Floyd Schofield, but he had an injury, so now he's just staying busy. type of fight with that. And then I don't know what this is about, but they got this Chavez Jr. is on the card, you guys.
I was about to
Yeah.
just
Right.
say that.
And I don't know what's
Yes.
up with that, but that's I mean,
You didn't
usually,
hear Shakur?
huh?
You didn't hear he's trying to get money together for his next bail money. That's what he's trying to do.
Well, it's supposed to be his comeback fight since he's been in rehab and stuff like that. So,
But at least he's
leave him alone.
At least he's planning.
I mean, but it's not even against a boxer. Uriah Hall is an MMA guy, right? Or is it
Yep.
even an ex MMA guy? Is he
Yeah,
retired?
it's
I
like
don't
some
even know.
celebrity type, it's gonna be similar to
Come
that.
on, Chavez.
Yeah,
He's-
like.
I don't
It-
know who the guy is.
Yeah.
I know there's an MMA fighter. His first name is Uriah,
Mhm.
but I don't know that this is the same guy.
I
I'm
didn't
not
think
sure
so either, because the riot that I knew
It is.
was
He fought Le'Veon Bell already, in like one of these other celebrity type things. So that's what this is. I'm pretty sure
But I
he's
think, if I'm not mistaken, Chavez Jr. was supposed to fight another boxing legend, um, son. You know what I'm saying? With the Mike Tyson fight that was rescheduled.
so they
So
might be saving now.
yeah, so they just threw this guy in here in the meantime to I guess to kind of get him in shape. I don't know.
Was it Mosley Jr.?
I don't remember who it was. I just remember that it was a boxing.
No, but
A boxing
shout out to Mosley Jr. by the way though, because
Yeah.
he just beat Danny Jacobs
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
the retirement. So shout out to Mosley Jr. That's a hell of a victory for that kid.
Yeah, even
That's
cut him.
very true. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a good win.
So
A
as
good
far
name
as
on his resume as well.
as far as Uriah Hall goes, he's from Jamaica, and he's got one bout under his belt, and that's basically it. He's a cruiserweight, and we don't know too much about him.
Yeah,
Hopefully he doesn't hurt Chavez.
Okay.
hopefully he does or doesn't.
Doesn't
Doesn't.
or does? Fuck it.
Well,
I don't
he
know
gotta
what
put
to
on
say.
them boxing
Yeah, I don't
gloves,
know.
so maybe
I
he's not
I don't know how to take.
You didn't
some
hear though, James?
Push him out
You
the
didn't-
door finally.
You didn't hear?
No.
They said Chavez will be on so much cocaine he won't feel anything.
Well, that's probably
Guys,
not you.
those jokes are not
No.
funny when he's
No.
gone to rehab and trying to recover now. That's not nice.
Well, you shit on my sport, that's what you get.
It's not nice.
Right.
It's not nice, Rob.
But it was
regardless.
Well, I just think that
On that note.
it's a fun fight card, and it's just to keep everybody active that is supposed to be on the delayed
Tyson.
Mike Tyson card. Yeah.
Now, Shakura, this one is also Netflix. Am I right? Am I
But
correct?
no, this one is actually DAZN. It's still
Is
gonna
it
be
not?
on. It's DAZN for this one.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was thinking that it was still going to be Netflix, but I guess not.
Yeah, Netflix is like, we're giving you the money for the Mike Tyson fight.
We don't want that shit.
That's not right. I mean, I'm just saying.
But it's true. It's
They
true.
like,
They were like, I
but
know.
We told you Mike Tyson. We ain't say yes to all this, but hopefully everything can still go through as planned, because I really am looking forward to that Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano rematch. Like, that's the real boxing matchup on the card for all the super diehard boxing fans.
Hell yeah. That's a pay-per-view in itself, right?
Right.
The Tyson, whatever, that's just icing on top of the cake. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I understand what this card is, and that's why I didn't even mention it. Like Sakura said perfectly, it's just a layover. It's just a layover. We'll get us to the Tyson.
Busy.
Yep, we'll get to that Tyson fight. But my thoughts for the night is really that I just want to wish Danny Jacobs a very good retirement. Don't come back out. You've had a good legend. You should be proud of the work that you have put in front of you. I take my hat off to you. But for those that like to watch this, we got a lot coming at you. We got a huge card coming on August 3rd that we want to. And James, you have a shout out?
Super quick, and this one goes out to the very unknown Suleiman Sagawa.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so featherweight and complicates the featherweight division. He walked away with a silver WBC silver belt. I didn't know that existed, but yeah, he came in and upset the fruit truck. Was fighting a kid that was being built up by Top Rank, and just gave him hell. He is from Uganda, and I just love this kid, man. He fought valiantly and made a name for himself. So Suleiman Sagawa, shout out to you, brother. Keep it up.
James was super impressed with that fight. I
Oh
missed
yeah,
it because I was watching another fight card, and I missed it.
There's nothing more than I'd like to see than a B-side come in and whoop.
Love it. We don't
Just
see that enough.
Whoop.
Upset the apple cart is what I call it, when they upset the apple cart.
Yes, and then you see all the promoters, with the long faces and have no idea what to say about this kid.
They're like, what just happened?
He did it. He stopped him, and he stopped him with his speed and his know-how. He's a young kid, but I just love to see him. I can't wait to see him again. And 126, so it complicates 126 real nicely. Good job, there.
And I hope they let us see him again, because there's been some cases where a boxer will upset the apple cart, and then you don't see them anymore. They don't get the matchups then, because people know them for what they are at that point. Like, the secret be out that this is a high risk, a high risk fight. When before it would have been like an easy, bring this kid in, B-side. But see, now if James is saying what he's saying, now they know that this guy is more of a boxer than they might want in an opponent's side. So I feel like they should start rewarding more of these type boxers that come in and have all the odds stacked against them, and then they still win that fight. Then that means they should then become an A-side fighter. Like, they should be given the opportunities. Kind of like an Eastside Cruz. Like, at first, I felt like they brought him in to lose against Tank. They didn't expect him to do as well as he did. And then, after that point, they started, just giving him more and more fights. And it's worked out well for him in his career. And that's what happens when you actually give these guys a shot that earned it.
Yeah, and that's another guy that's coming up on August 3rd. So we're going to have a big show there as far as that's concerned. One of the most stat cards I think I've ever seen, and it's going to be coming up August 3rd. So only a couple weeks away. Definitely want everybody to hang in and stay with us for that. Again, Tough Talk airs every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.